A very good morning to you all and a warm welcome to this edition of KFM VPN, that's Views, People and News. This Saturday, the 30th of August, 2025, it is 3 minutes past 9 o'clock. My name is Judith Atim. I'm your host, and today we're discussing an interesting topic. We're still continuing with, of course, putting our focus on the NRM. And today we are looking at the concerns from the NRM delegates and their political bearings. We're diving deep, of course, into this recent exercise, a gathering that has stirred significant discussion and debate. This conference, as you know, is a critical moment, not just for the ruling, mostly for the ruling party, yes, shaping its internal dynamics and future direction. But, like you are aware, it's not without its challenges. There have been reports of voter manipulation, bribery, and other issues that we shall be discussing in the next 2 hours. And my guests, of course, I have 4 people, 3 from the ruling party. They were in Kololo. They witnessed the things that happened. They took part in the exercise either as contestants or providing support in one way or another. And definitely I'll give them the opportunity to, of course, give us the bird's eye view, what exactly happened from their points of view while they were in Kololo. So they'll be helping us dissect these issues. So we have so far 2 of them in the studio. Honorable A.D. Kwizera, MP, Buchimbiri County, Kisoro District. A warm welcome, Honorable.
Thank you.
Good to see you on the show.
Pleasure.
Yes. We also have Mr. Patrick Mutabwire, who contested for the Older Persons MP position, Western Region. A warm welcome to the show, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning. The other 2 are still panting. Our steps have really done them bad. I'll give them a moment to catch their breath, and then I'll introduce them. But as I give them a little bit of time, what exactly happened this week? Because the week was dominated largely by NRM issues. Kololo Ceremonial Grounds and Wampeo Avenue, which stretches from Ginger Road roundabout, was a beehive of activity from Monday to Thursday as the NRM members convened for their special interest group polls and the National Delegates Conference. Campaigns, voting, and speeches were dominated by concerns of bribery, intimidation, result manipulation, show of party loyalty, among others. In the end, new faces were declared as new members of the Central Executive Committee of the NRM, except the party's national chairperson, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and his deputy Alhaji Moses Chigongo, who were only endorsed as per the earlier decision. The good, the bad, the sweet, and all the concerns from this week's NRM's affairs will form much of our conversations today, like I mentioned earlier. But also it emerged last evening that Uganda's former Chief of Military Intelligence, Major General James Birungi, has been arrested and detained at Machindia Military Police Prison. He's expected to face trial before a military court-martial on multiple charges related to treason and corruption and other serious offenses, officials said on Friday. The arrest follows findings from a high-level board of inquiry led by the Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Sam Okiding, which was established to investigate allegations of compromised intelligence operations and internal misconduct within the UPDF. And separately, the National Unity Platform Party yesterday released a list of some of the party's selected flag bearers for the local government positions. The lists were released for some districts with councillors and mayors, which drew mixed reactions from the candidates and their supporters. We're following this, and we shall definitely also have a conversation around this some other time. Today, however, our focus is on the NRM. And now, let me introduce the other 2. Honorable George Stephen Odongo, member of the East African Legislative Assembly. Warm welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Looking quite exhausted.
Yes.
And you'll be telling us why in a moment. I also welcome Mr. Henry Muguzi, Executive Director, Alliance for Finance Monitoring. He's also coordinator of the African Election Observers Network. A warm welcome to the show, Henry.
Thank you, Judith, and quite an honor for me to be sharing the platform with the colleagues I've not seen in a long time. Mr. Mutabwire here. I've not met in a long time.
Yes.
Quite an honor for me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So very quickly, I think our news highlights are basically what we're discussing, so I'm not even going to go there. I want to start with you, Mr. Mutabwire. just from your vantage point, just let us know what you experienced at the delegates conference.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was all okay at the beginning when we entered the Colorado grounds. We expected and we received the address by His Excellency the President, and we were sub-conferenced to go to our areas for conduct elections. The elections which were supposed to be done during daylight never took place until 3 a.m. in the night. That's when the elections were conducted, and people were exhausted. And unfortunately, this last evening, one of the delegates passed away. They got a cold during that time. Her soul rest in peace. So we had that scenario of elections being conducted in the wee hours. These are older persons. We need to know the pressure why the elections had to be conducted in the night. Yet elections are supposed to be conducted in broad daylight. But this time it was at night with hazel lights and so on. So we introduced ourselves, we made short briefs, and then we went to the line.
So that was for the special interest groups?
Yes, special interest group, older persons, Western region. Specifically, that's what I will talk about.
Okay.
Region. Yes, so we went to the lines, and we were struck at the time before we just joined the lines. A drove of delegates from the women councils joined us in our tent, well knowing that we had not concluded the elections of the older persons. There was a big sap now of voters. So when we went to the lines, I raised the issue that let us first clean up the people who are going to vote. We get our register as is required, and we read out those who are eligible to vote, and we go down and we vote. This was pushed aside. These were officials, the officials of the Electoral Commission. Then shortly after, Dr. Tango Doe came and said, we have to count. So the counting started, counted my line first, then he counted the line of
your colleague.
My colleague, and in the counting, of course, we took measures and recorded what was being done using a phone. So when we were the counting, eventually when we played, of course, the one who was recording had the problems, where the counting of jumping, 60, 70, 80, 90, then you continue. Then somewhere ahead, 160, 170, 180, you can even see it clearly that you are pointing one person, 160, another person, 170. You are jumping almost 9 votes there, and so on. And the result produced for my colleague was 215. Mine was 162. So when they filled the declaration of the results form, the total became 430. Now, the maximum voters that can be for Western region is 364. Because these even if you don't have a register, they are known. There are 5 members.
So others were spoiled votes?
No, wait a minute. Let's first deal with the base. Who are the voters? 5 members of the executive committee of older persons at 35 districts, 3 cities, 8 municipal divisions, and 6 divisions. So that gives you 52 voting where which hold the 5. And in addition to those 52 units, you have two sitting councillors, female and male, for older persons, representing older persons in the councils. So that means that each unit has 7. So when you multiply 7 times 52, you get 364. So that election cannot produce a result beyond 364. But in our case, it produced 430 because of some of the things that you were able to see.
So interesting. So for this reason, I'm assuming you are contesting the results.
Yeah, we are contesting the results.
Yes.
And it's part of the process of cleaning up.
All right. Honorable Kwizera. You would just say, what do you think stood out for you at this exercise that you just concluded, including the good things that you think happened there?
You know, the problems we have in Uganda is that very few people think. Many Ugandans don't think. That's why the problems we are having. And others don't know how to manage their expectations. Because in the expectations, there are those which are disclosed expectations and undisclosed expectations. So when you look at elections where the participants talking about electing at 3 a.m., you ask yourself, do we have regulations? Do we have guidelines? If they are there, was there any non-compliance, enforcement of regulations? So you can say that even in some parties, not on NRM, they have regulations and practices driven by self. So when self comes in, the wider interest of the organization definitely dies. So when you find out other people who cannot manage expectations, because the expectations of an individual like this one who is playing in the politics may not be the expectations of everybody or even the owner of the party. So this one might be systematic. So that you don't know who doesn't want you to be in that position. So even when you say, who do you blame? Do you blame Mutango Doi? Do you blame the register? Do you blame the participants? In this case, you find there's a very big problem. And we have been talking about need for transparent regulations. Because without clear, transparent regulations, you cannot manage a system of elections. And this is across all of the parties. You don't know how people are choosing the people they want to be in positions. And you just ask, why is it that these positions are attracting all of these numbers, big numbers? Why? Attracting big numbers, people paying beyond what they will earn in the period they will be in the office. And this is for LC 1, 2, 3, councillors, members of parliament, members of SEC. They are paying more money. Actually, don't think if it is an investment. It cannot be an investment. Because the investment is you expect a return. But where people are paying money more than what they will get during the term of office, even when they know that those offices, there is no prescribed pay, you ask yourself, what's happening? Is it too much politics? I have not seen elections without a register. You cannot have elections without register. Without describing and prescribing who is a voter. If you ask Mutabwire and say, are you a member of NRM? Can you show proof? Does he have it? Are you a member of NRM?
Yes, I am.
Do you have evidence? Do you contribute to NRM? Have you ever contributed anything? So these people are playing in a field that they don't own. They don't, because for you to be a member of an organization, you must have membership, prescribed membership. You must have contributed to the establishment of that organization, either by membership, subscription, you are paying annual fees, you have a card, so that when they go for voting, you don't find the people from Makerere, from universities, from the street, are the ones voting. Because there is no difference between the Mutabwire who claims to be an NRM and the other one who is voting. If you get the candidate and say, show me, are you a member of NRM?
So are you contesting Mutabwire's membership?
He has no evidence.
I'm on the register.
No, that big is the register.
I'm on the register.
No. How many registers? We have multiple registers. Every candidate had to register. You have a register that serves your interest. In these elections we are having, people had these accreditation cards manufactured from different areas. People came with them. So how do you then say, if you have a register and you have members, how do you say that the outcomes of the elections were more than those ones expected? How do they vote? How do they come in? So the problem is in Uganda, it is a fundamental problem. And this cuts across all the parties. The people participating, what interests? Is it money? Is it because of lack of employment? Is it a service they want? People are not driven by service. They are driven by self-benefits. And if they had put regulations and laws that regulate and criminalize those who pay, put some sanctions. If you are an election manager and you cannot do it well, what sanctions? There is evidence that you have not conducted elections very well. What sanctions? Why should you now be the one to be an expert in managing elections when you have failed in some elections? So those are some of the issues that Ugandans should really be looking at. And this is affecting, by the way, it is affecting all the political parties. And of course, if it affects NRM, which is managing the country and the resources, every Ugandan should wish that NRM conducts elections which are very fair. Because when you get people who are wrong characters in the party that is managing the resources of the country and the affairs, then you are doomed, even when you are in EDP and FDC and East African community. You will have a problem.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable George Odongo. I also want to hear your thoughts. You were in charge of managing logistics for 23,000 people. Yes. Not so? That's why he looks very tired, by the way. He's exhausted. If this was a football match, I'd actually call you man of the match, because that is quite a daunting task. But just let us know how it went, the management of that. Yeah?
Man of the match is a consequence of good performance. I don't know whether Okay. Fine, Joe, just carry on. He's contesting whether there was a good performance or not in your party. I think we'll come to that a little later. Not just from the management of the numbers, but also I'd like to know what you observed in the whole process, how it was managed.
I think there are two elements in this particular in this National Delegates Conference. There were the hardware issues and there were the software issues. The hardware issues and the software issues. The hardware are quite mechanical issues, like, management of logistics, getting the delegates to have their accommodation, transport. Really, for me, those are really hardware.
Not
really
issues at the heart of the party.
Not very sophisticated. So it was easy for me to do the logistical management. I think on that,
there's not much to talk about.
Not much to talk about.
Let's go to the software issues.
I think the software issues is where we should be talking about.
Absolutely.
And I think the malaise that the party is having is much bigger. And I'm glad that you have the Honorable Kwizera here. And I wish you had brought somebody from the Electoral Commission, because you see the bulk of the conversation that is in the public space is largely about the outcomes of the elections and how they were conducted. Some of which are really within the purview of, in fact, most of it is within the purview of the Electoral Commission. But that's why I'm excited that you're having here the Honorable Kwizera, because I know him as one person who you can count on to speak out his mind and state some of the most uncomfortable facts. You see, what I saw in Kololo, in my considered opinion, is that there were so many delegates, so many contestants, that in the Bible, is it in Matthew, Mark? I think both Matthew and Mark, that says you can gain, you are working so hard to gain the world,
and
gain wealth, and gain power, and you lose
your own soul.
Your own soul. So there is a lot that was going on there in pursuit of power, wealth, and in the process we were losing the soul of the party. And I think this is where the conversation should be anchored, and we need deeper reflection. The president talked about it, I think, but I think there has got to be really some conscious deliberations around how do we reclaim the soul of the party? How do we, how do we, get back to our rails? The DNA of this political organization is getting compromised. And it's largely because we are not operating functionally as a political organization. Really, as a political organization, there are those regulations, rules, and every party member is supposed to play by the same rules. And there are consequences for you for not playing by the rules. So when there are blatant transgressions from individual members and there are no consequences for it, then we compromise the integrity of the whole processes that the party is undertaking. And we should all be ashamed of it. I think we need to call it out and the way it is. So for me, what we saw in Kololo are just very, very, those are symptoms of a bigger problem that we have got to fix in the party. One, that we need a political organization that functions right from the grassroots level. And for all these years that it has been in existence, it should be seen to be continuously mobilizing, having its leadership actively engage in policy issues, development issues, shaping the policy discourse, shaping the political discourse in the country. We don't see that. So we see its activation coming during the times of election. Now, this is where the problem is, because if people know that the only time they are going to have a delegates conference, the only time they are going to have to elect is to be seen to be active in the party is when they are casting their vote, then they make the best of it. So each one of them comes and thinks that I need to make the best out of this. Unfortunately, making the best out of it has not been to say, let me make the best choice of the people who are coming here for election. It's about who is, providing the...
Who holds the basket.
Yes. So some of these things really have got to be confronted, and we as political leaders within the National Resistance Movement should begin to have these deliberate conversations if we are to reclaim the soul of the party.
Thank you. Henry, let me come to you. You are the only election observer here. I'd call you the only independent voice so far. The rest, the three belonging to the party. From an observer's point of view, how do you weigh in on what happened from Monday to Thursday at Kololo?
Thank you very much, Judith, and thank you very much, colleagues. Honorable Dong, Honorable Kwizera. Are you honorable yet?
Yes.
He may become.
My colleague, I think Honorable Donkia puts it very well when he says that what happened was symptoms of a bigger problem that must be fixed. But that fixing cannot be just within the party. As a coordinator of democracy across the continent, So, of course, I was on TV watching. And what I watched made me think, and I took my thoughts very high. So I started reflecting on many things, such as the society in which we operate in. Because you see, if you find... I used to grow children. Now they are old. So you give this child a phone, and then I remember my son got my phone and dipped it in a cup of tea. That was the end of it. So you look at a group of citizens and ask, do they know what is happening? Well, Mr. Mutagwire here has just said, I was about to ask him, the one who was counting as if he studied under a mango tree. Who was that? Was that Tango Doi? Yes. Who counts 1, 2, 20, 30, 31, 40? It was him. So you ask yourself, have we been, is this man obsessed? But when I took it a notch higher, I asked myself the question. I went into economics. So I went to your boss. And then I found that the population of Uganda that is engaged in agriculture is about to, and you can think, you don't think I'm going into agriculture, but I'm building a point, is about to 75 to 80%. Then I moved quickly to ask this phenomenon called democracy. Where did it come from? And then I remembered it came from the global north, the west. So I went back and checked on their population right now. The population of Europe and the North America, that is engaged in agriculture is between 2 and 5%. So I had to check at what time did they have a population that is in agriculture that is equivalent with the population we have. It took me back to 1800. That's when their society, 80% of their society was agrarian. Then I looked at the politics they were practicing then. There was no democracy. We had the kings. I made a conclusion. We are not ready as a country for democracy. Let us first change society, grow society, society develops, because even those that have degrees are behaving as if they are dropouts of UPE when it comes to politics. So I think we are working on something we don't understand. Then I went to start also understanding political parties, such as those that started like, revolutionary movements. I was very attracted to the Communist Party of China. So I went there. What did I find? You see, in China, they've, never mind the authoritarian and so on, because even us, you cannot practice democracy in Africa. The truth has to be told. Because our society is simply not ready. This is alien. We need to sit down and reflect. But you see, in that party of China, you don't just pop onto the scene. You go through a process of grounding and maturity. Xi Jinping started at the age of 20, being groomed. There is another one waiting when he comes, and the ideology will be the same. You come back here. This party came as a very progressive party. Honorable Kwizera asks a question. Mutagwire, what shows you are a member? How can you run a party? So this party that is neither a political party, neither a movement, what is it? We can't even explain it, because a political party, by its nature, must have two sets of people. It has members, it has followers. Members are those that have membership cards. They subscribe for Christ's sake. There can never be freedom of entry and exit. So these members, what do? They volunteer for the party. They have bought into the ideology of the party. They work for the party. Now, you have supporters. Those don't have membership cards. They contribute to the party financially and otherwise. Most of the people that they call members of the party, these are supporters of the party. They're not members. The party must go back to the basics and build a membership so that there is a basis. Number two, the party has to be intentional on growing leaders. We have Chankwanzi. We spend money on it every day. It has failed to produce transformative leaders. How can we not be able to how do you just become and get to be a chairman of the electoral commission of a party such as NRM that is taking the country forward, and you have not been grounded into the fundamentals of why this organization was established? That you come to Colorado and start counting things. this in this manner, as if people don't have feelings. You see, for us who think straight, this was a betrayal, and we need to get back to the basics. NRM and many other political parties must put in place a system that grooms leaders, that you don't just burst onto the scene like this. You must have been grounded, so that because we have one country that we know where we want this country to go. We have the Vision 2040. You ask them, what is your view or plan of how do these individuals understand where we want to go? Vision 2063 of the African Union, do they know? Or they're just looking at what is their money and the benefit and so on? What happened? So I think some of us who do academics, and the academics out there, we should also start publishing papers on the making and unmaking of this movement called NRM.
Thank you.
It came with good ideas. When did it start to be unmade? And can we go back there and retrace where we went wrong? It went wrong. So, and other political parties also to reflect, so that we can take forward this country. But otherwise, as it is, opposition political parties, the NRM, everybody is doing wrong things. How can we have a country like this? We are very disappointed as citizens.
Thank you. Thank you, Henry. It's time for us to take a break. But when we return, Honorable Kwizera made an interesting observation. He says, what has happened shows there is a fundamental problem. But nearly 40 years ago, when the president came to power, he promised a fundamental change. But now there is a fundamental problem, as admitted by one of his own members of the party. But what's the fix? But also, I would like us to talk about what is fundamentally different, about the dynamics of the SEC or the Delegates Conference this time around. It's not the first time you're having a Delegates Conference, so what is so different about it this time around? And the new SEC, that's the new policy think tank for the NRM and by extension, Uganda. That is if NRM gets the mandate of the people in 2026 for another 5 years. So what will this SEC deliver for Uganda in terms of policy direction? We'll talk about this after the break. Welcome back from the break. It is 9:38 a.m. and this is VPN. We are still continuing with our discussion on the concerns from the NRM Delegates Conference and their political bearings. With me in the studio I have Honorable Eddie Kwizera, MP for Buchimbiri County, Kisoro District, Mr. Patrick Mutabwire, who contested for the MP seat for older persons for Western Region. He is contesting the results. Honorable George Stephen Odomo, member of the East African Legislative Assembly, and Mr. Henry Muguzi, Executive Director, Alliance for Finance Monitoring, also coordinator for the African Election Observers Network. So, gentlemen, let's look at what the fundamental problem is and what is the fix. Honorable Kwizera, you talked about this earlier, but also, before the break, I had said SEC as a decision-making organ of the party certainly is responsible for shaping policy. It is ideally the policy think tank, but Henry thinks otherwise. I'd also like to hear your views. Honorable Kwizera here also says, no, it is not a think tank. So let me come to you, Honorable Mr. Mutabwire. There is a fundamental problem within the party, which does not only stop in the party, it affects the rest of Ugandans. All of us, whether you belong to the ruling party or not, will certainly be affected by the mess that happens in this party. What is the fix? So at what point did we get to this mess? 40 years ago, the president promised Ugandans a fundamental change. Now we have a fundamental problem at our hands. How did we get here? How do we fix it?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the issue is the question of leadership, in my view. It is the leaders who are supposed to make sure that they give direction. And therefore, for you to access a leadership position in most of these countries that we know, you are groomed, you are mentored, and you make sure that you are doing the right thing. So if we don't go back to the drawing board and look at the questions of leadership capacity development, that's where the problem lies. Because I remember in the early days when we had the political school, I attended the political school myself in 1989. You see, you get the fundamentals. If you meet someone who went through political school at that time, even today, you know, he cannot. There are certain things you can't do in that respect. So for me, the question is about leadership, one. Two, the command and the sanctions on those leaders. There should be a do and don't direction. If you are a leader and you do something which is not acceptable, so should be. You should get out of the way and some other people come on to give direction. That is, at national level, once the direction is shaped, then the leaders should be either on that line, and if you are not fitting in that line, then you should fall out of the way. Because if there is a problem up, for instance now, like in these elections, if you as a chairman of the Electoral Commission can do high jump in counting, what do you expect the registrars in the district to do? Would you punish them if they do wrong? So to me, the question is about leadership, following the certain code of ethics, and sanctions, real sanctions on breach of some of these actions which tarnish the party. Personally, the party has no problem. It's a question of the leaders who are in there. Get the right leader in the right place, and things will be done. And we have seen we have examples to give, which may not be here, but there are examples where a leader comes in. Let's say like in the district, you find there is a new district chairperson, and the things which are stalled are being done. But you have someone who was in the leadership of the district, and it is all stale, like a pond, water in the pond. So I think the question is about leadership focus and direction, and emphasizing that sanctions, when you breach, should be pulled out and meted on those who willfully breach some of these directions.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Kwizera.
You see, in Uganda there is very few people, even these people from academia, academic institutions. There is a disease that has come in, failing to put across something that can be of national importance and can be debated. And where you find that in organization, people surrender, there is a culture of surrendering. Someone in Makerere who has a PhD, he says, I am surrendering to so and so who will take a decision. And you are surrendering to someone who is not authoritative. That thing has killed this country. You go to a ministry, the minister is not informed, and you want the minister to be the one to make informed decision. When he is not informed, that thing has killed this country. Another thing is that if you want to go to contest, why can't they provide that you must also produce a certificate of good conduct? Because some of these people who have participated are criminals. They have been investigated by arms of government, and they have been found that they are criminals. So are we going to allow this? So why can't we demand certificates of good conduct? And who has failed to do his work? You cannot be a functioning government. You have constitutional bodies supposedly to do civic education. What you are doing here and what you are doing is lack of civic education. There is a gap for a citizen to know how to vote. Who am I supposed to vote for? So Uganda Human Rights Commission gets a budget, and they are supposed to do civic education. And tomorrow you hear that the Electoral Commission has given political parties money, and they don't follow what is that money going to do. And who is going to manage that money? They don't follow. They just surrender. That thing is very bad. So when you look at political accountability, in most of Ugandan parties and organizations, actually the people who started them are the ones who are the owners. So who is accountable to who? And that thing is a very big problem. In the functional organizations and the democracies, all the players who go to participate in elections are checked. They are screened. So a functioning secretariat of a party should hold accountable to all those ones who are vying for political positions. But in Uganda, it is different. So I would think that when there is like a mirror, all of these politicians to pass there, and they say, can you qualify for a certificate of good conduct? Many people would even run away because they have known sins, crimes that people don't know, but that crimes mirror would detect, would chase them, all of them, they wouldn't even be there. So when you look at what now they are calling a mass party, what is the mass party? People don't know what the mass party is. They say mass party, organization, political party. Where is that law that is establishing those words? So there is non-compliance. People just surrender. That's a very big problem. So it's a capacity to practice democracy, as this capacity to practice democracy must be there.
You're not ready for democracy.
You find that the qualifications and disqualifications for people to go in leadership, everybody comes and is nominated. You, without carrying out any background check, the rapists, the night dancers, the most corrupt, the prisoner graduates, all of them are there. There is no way you can ask for someone for nomination fee without demanding for a bank account and sources of income. If we are criminalizing this anti-money laundering, we are talking about, we must know the source of money financing these people. Now, if Mutabgiri is going to spend 3 billion, even in his pension, in his lifetime, he has never earned that money. So why can't you demand for a bank statement and say, you spent so much money? Where did you get it? You declare it as an income and send a paper to him. You spent so much money, which means it was an income.
We also need tax clearance.
And then you need tax clearance. Are you taxpayer? So we have allowed criminals participate in our elections, foreigners, those who are not qualified. Just briefly, when I was in Kororo, students had to put on like, as long as you buy a yellow shirt, you enter. Then you go to vote. We saw people voting, multiple voting.
So your party, you're admitting that your party has basically set the bar so low that anything goes. There are no checks, no guardrails, nothing whatsoever.
We need to set standards, and the standards must be known. Qualifications and disqualifications must be known. People must be punished for the wrong. Because you see, the president was lamenting. It is very dangerous for a president to lament without showing that he was affected. So we expect some people to be in prison now. Because what was done was a shame, according to our colleague Odong. You mean the intelligence of the country has failed to know that some people committed a crime? Kororo is a fenced ground. Where did they pass? Who forged the tags? So are we driven by service or self or money? Is there any fear? Are there any threats? Are we fearing someone? You know, when you tell a kid that, by the way, there is a snake in this box, the kid will run away. So it seems there is something they're fearing, people cannot talk about it. So I want to tell you that me, as my colleagues, it is now uniform that, is there any democracy? Is that democracy? Do we qualify? What was so in Kororo? Can you call it an election? Can you?
But Honorable, before I let you go...
Like my friend Barjomusi is a man who has been sick, and Mukura, they are my friends. When I saw them crying, I said, hey, this is a feedback. Now, the president should call Mukura and Barjomusi and talk to them in front of Tango Doi.
But what is Tango Doi doing?
No. But also, before we get to that, Honorable, there's one common thread in NRM. Whenever anything goes wrong, even the youth want to meet the president, the special interest groups. Every time there's a problem within your party, everyone wants to meet the president. Shouldn't you have systems and structures that actually address the grievances of the party? Why must everything wait for the president's endorsement or final say?
First of all, these people who say they are members of NRM, what is it that they have put in to sustain their party? Nothing. So they expect the president to be the one to sustain them. You have a non-functional system. The district structures don't meet. The secretariat cannot even meet, cannot even generate revenue. So they now say, Your Excellency, can you give us money to meet? So now, if you have non-functioning party structures that only emerge when we are going for elections, that's what kills the parties. These parties should be not events. These Odongos are managing events. They are not managing systems. There is no system. They manage. There is event management, and there is system management. In NRM and other parties, they manage events. They don't manage systems, because the relationship between the district office and the secretariat either is undermined or is not allowed to function. But it does not function. It does not even qualify to be a party headquarter. I mean, a party secretariat, because it does not generate any revenue or even policy. I am a member of parliament, but how many times have we met them for direction? Nothing. We have never met them. So if I am a member of parliament, I am a member of parliament. The secretariat of the party is superior to SEC. But instead of the party secretariat being superior to SEC, SEC now is superior. So the secretariat is submissive.
No. That's not the way it is.
What functionally now?
Functionally, SEC is the...
No. You see, SEC is an organ of the party.
Yes.
So an organ of the party cannot be superior to the party.
It's not superior to the party.
But
saying, you're saying the secretariat.
No, the secretariat is the supreme body.
No. The secretariat is subordinate.
To the central executive.
Yes. The central executive.
No, you are wrong. In management,
it is here.
In the party structure, functioning parties, the secretariat of a party has organs. These organs include those leagues and SEC. That's what it should be under corporate governance. Yeah. You cannot find an organ being superior where it is supposed to be.
I need to help you.
So who reports it to? No, that I will be very happy.
I need to help you.
What is the reporting system and accountability? Who accounts it to who?
That's what I'm saying. I need to help you here.
George, it's fine. You can come in.
You see, the Central Executive Committee.
A committee.
The Central I need to read for you the functions here. Number one, it provides and exercises political leadership in the country. Number two, formulates policy for consideration by NEC. Number three, supervise the day-to-day conduct of the organization's activities. Number four, appoint organizational functionaries from amongst members. This is the constitution of NRM. Propagate the NRM policies. Recommend to NEC NRM candidates seeking nomination for the offices of chairperson and so on and so forth. Let me just stop there. So let me go to the secretariat.
So in terms of providing policy direction, that is correct.
Yeah.
SEC does that.
Because, you see, the secretariat is the implementing body. It executes policy.
I thought so.
The governing organ is the Central Executive Committee.
It has technical people.
Yes.
Okay.
The moment we made the Secretary General appointive, okay, he became a technical person.
That is clear.
So let me...
Then we will go back to the constitution of NRM and amend it.
Let me tell you what
George, are you done?
Yeah.
Let's look for us. Just check the secretariat roles while Honorable Kwizera here.
Yes, I can. Let me still give you the secretariat's role.
Okay.
Under the direction of the Secretary General, the National Secretariat is responsible for implementation of the decisions of the National Conference and National Executive Council, implementation of NRM policies, preparing rules, regulations, and for approval by the respective authorities within NRM. Like I said, the Secretariat is the implementing arm. The oversight body, the immediate oversight body, is SEC. SEC comes out with the policy directions, comes with regulations, rules, and then the Secretariat implements them. So that's the way it is supposed to.
That's how it is. Is there no room for amendment of that constitution?
Yeah, that's why I was saying that now when we go
now let me tell you one fundamental problem. in any corporate organization, a temporary or limited term organization like SEC. SEC is supposed to serve for 5 years.
Yeah.
The secretariat is permanent.
Yeah.
So you cannot subject a permanent organ into the SEC.
No, SEC is also, SEC as an organ.
Wait,
you are mistaking two things. You are mistaking the organ and the people who serve in that organ. SEC is a permanent organ of.
No, it is a permanent structure.
A structure.
But the membership are elected every 5 years.
Yes, even the secretariat. They are there.
What I'm saying, you see, according to political parties organizations, the one recognized is the party secretariat. The chairman of the party cannot go to electoral commission. Who endorses the president when he's going to contest? Who endorses who? Because the secretariat must endorse their candidate. Secondly, if there is a need to amend functionality, the functions are very clear. You are going to contest as the president. Who will endorse you? The Secretary General. You mean SEC can endorse candidates?
The Secretary General cannot endorse a candidate.
I mean, all candidates being contested. Or every member of parliament.
Okay, this is getting interesting. But you come in here, and then there's just a question that I would like to have answered after you, George. How relevant are these SEC positions, for one to spend the kind of money that we saw being spent, and also how often do the interests of SEC guide the policy agenda and direction of the country? But Henry.
Yeah, so what Honorable Kwizera is raising is a very important issue. And as the two gentlemen interrogated, then I saw a gap. Actually, you see, that NRM party and many other political parties, you cannot exist without thought leadership. There must be a group of these men and women that whose work is to think and provide direction for the party in terms of the ideology and the philosophy on which it is anchored. Now, because SEC has members that are elected every after 5 years, that cannot be thought leadership, because thought leadership has to be permanent. I always go back and refer to the Communist Party of China, because we have so many commonalities. First of all, our societies, both ours and the Chinese, are authoritarian. That is true. Truth has to be told. That CPC has a group. That group of thought leaders are they don't participate in this election. Blah, blah, blah. Theirs is to think. They are also there to critique Xi Jinping. Mr. Museveni has nobody that critiques him, and you cannot tell people that you are the alpha and omega of knowledge. You see, so this is the one that says, SEC do this, Secretariat do this. So I think they need to go back and amend and create that organ. The question is, are they interested?
No, but also, Henry, perhaps the difference between the two is that one suffers from founder syndrome and the other doesn't. Because we've seen the Chinese Communist Party hand over leadership to one individual after another. We've not seen that transition within the NRM since its founding.
Hand over power to is not any other individual that pops up at Kololo. They have been built over years. They're in the line. And when they're in the line, there is no such a thing as they jump a queue like Besigye did. 2021, I have to jump. You know that Xi Jinping has to still be there until your time comes. You will never find someone who is in the line coming out and says, oh, I should also test. I should go for
but also, Henry, has NRM and specifically its founder actually allowed for the opportunity to groom a successor or a leader?
Because the founder has nobody that critiques him. The founder gets off track. He needs to be critiqued and directed by that thought leadership.
Madam and gentlemen, I want to tell you that sciences and economics, those are set standards. Political parties were not created in Uganda. So they must have international standard. And when we are profiling a country, you profile the managers who are managing it. Political risks, if they are high, the World Bank can't give you money. They look at who is managing the resources, who is managing the country, who is running the country. So a country does not manage itself in isolation. It is a standard that whoever seeks for a political position for election, if the President Museveni is unopposed, Chigongo is unopposed, does not mean that they are not elected positions. And whoever is elected has a responsibility of accountability. So I want to ask you, who does SEC account to? Is it accountable? The relationship in the organization is accountability, performance and accountability. So, Odongo.
Should I come in?
No, wait.
Let him finish. let him finish.
Those people elected in the SEC, they have a chairperson, they have members. Who do they account to?
Okay,
no, he's a member.
Allow George to respond.
He's a member of SEC, the chairperson. So it means that people have misunderstood and they have undermined the secretariat. The secretariat having junior people, senior citizens, I mean who are not senior, junior, does not mean that its legal capacity or corporate capacity is not there. Put people who are very senior there.
It is done in China.
No, but in Kenya,
here?
In other countries, in Tanzania, in Tanzania, in Chama cha Mapinduzi, and because our relationship with Chama cha Mapinduzi and the South African Party, we are almost the same. So can't we go to benchmark there and we say they relate?
Okay, let's allow George to come in. George, the mic is yours.
Okay, I think we may be debating different things, but if we are debating the structure of the national resistance movement and how each organ functions, then you realize that conceptually
and accountability.
Yeah, conceptually, when you look at the structure of the national resistance movement, conceptually, excellent.
What is excellent about it?
Okay,
accountability. Talk about accountability.
No. You see, I'm building my point. Conceptually, yeah, excellent. Because when you look at the structure, yeah, its governance structure, you have at the very top, in terms of policy and so on, you have the Central Executive Committee.
So the thinking on paper is actually okay.
It's very okay. It's very okay. I will only detect one gap, and I will bring that at the last moment. Okay. But for now, conceptually, you must have, it's like having a chief executive. You have a president. He presides over cabinet. You're going to ask me to whom is the president accountable? That's exact. It's accountable to Ugandans.
Okay, on the paper.
Okay? Yeah, exact. So what I'm saying is conceptually, it is excellent. Maybe functionally, okay? Functionally, we can then say, let's have a debate.
Madam, there's something to clarify before it goes far. Honorable, let me tell you something. Accountability in effective management. You account to someone that has capacity to assess what you are doing. And check you. So how can you say
to check you?
Someone can account to the public? How?
And you change.
Do they have capacity?
Let's allow George to finish before you come in, please.
I want to draw the example of government, how government is structured. Okay? You have the executive headed by the president. You have parliament headed by the speaker. You have the judiciary headed by the
Chief Justice.
The Chief Justice. I am asking you the same question. If the president is the chief executive of the country, to whom is he accountable? That's the same thing with the party. The president.
No, there is a difference between the president.
No, just
and
allow George finish. Allow him
but
finish.
There is a difference between the president and the chairman of the party.
That is understandable. But just let's allow him finish, and then we can come. You can all come.
You need to read the constitution of the National Resistance Movement. Like I said, structurally, okay, conceptually, brilliant. Functionally is probably where the gaps are. Okay, how the party is functioning, because all these organs of the party are supposed to function in a certain way in order to be able to provide the necessary oversight and, of course, accountability to the different levels of leadership, be it at the district level, be it at the secretariat level, be it at the national executive level, including the NRM caucus, which is at the parliamentary level. All those have their functions, and there is an accountability system embedded in it. Trouble is probably how each one of them functions. So the question we should be asking ourselves is, how does it function? But in terms of the way it is structured, excellent. Now, after these elections, my view is that we need to amend the NRM constitution and come up with.
That's very good.
And come up with, number one, especially given what we have experienced right now, we need to do an audit of how the party is functioning. And like we said initially that, we have lowered the threshold. And we seem to be having no tools, sufficient tools within the party, to cause compliance. But even before we do that, we need a separate, in my view, we need a separate organ within the party that does the vetting of all candidates, including those that are going to SEC. SEC cannot vet itself, because when we realized during this process that all candidates, including those who are SEC members, were subjected to a vetting process by the same SEC who have members who have an interest in the same positions. You can't be a judge in your own case. So we need to create a separate organ. And I think for the case of the National Resistance Movement, we can say it from time to time, the president or can nominate a separate, completely separate organ, whose functions are to vet all members of the party who aspire for leadership, so that they go through that vetting process. If you pass the vetting test, then you are presented and then you campaign. It happens in other...
I also had a question for him, but Henry, you can come first.
The point he's making, it's a very good point. But I think let it not just be this organ should not just vet, because by the time you vet, it is already too late. It's like you want to make this cow, you did not participate in feeding it, so you come to check for milk, it won't be there. I think this organ should be able to identify and groom leaders early, get them grounded into the ideology of the philosophy, marry that ideology with the vision of the country, so that you don't just pop. The likes of Magufuli did not just pop.
So you
prepared.
See. Let him finish and we take a break.
That it's not just vet. It should participate in grooming and identifying and grooming those who will be leaders.
You're now dealing with the nuts and bolts, but me in practice, okay, in principle, we need that organ within the party, so that it has that function of ensuring that there is a minimum threshold below which you don't qualify, no matter who you are, to run for whatever position. And these people should be above reproach. You get it? Because you see, when you hear stories...
I wanted to raise the credibility question, but I'm glad you bring that.
Yeah, because you see, when you hear stories around vetting processes within the National Resistance Movement, it just throws the credibility of the whole process completely off balance. You need an organization that inspires confidence in its membership, so that whoever is coming in and presenting himself for leadership, when he loses, he should face the camera and says, I gave my best and I lost.
Not because I was rigged.
Every election result is contested. That should send a signal to the party that there is something fundamentally wrong with everything that is happening within the party, and we need to build it.
Thank you, George. Let's take a break, and then when we return, we continue with the discussion on the concerns from the NRM delegates and their political bearings. This is VPN. Welcome back from the break. It's 15 minutes past 10 o'clock. This is VPN. We're still discussing the concerns from the NRM delegates and their political bearings. And now, gentlemen, I want us to discuss the role of the SEC and whether the constitution of the Central Executive Committee that we see now after the delegates conference, where does it leave the party and where does it take the party? Does it inspire confidence in the party? George, you were just taking us through the roles of SEC, political leadership, providing policy direction, etc. Does the current constitution of the SEC inspire confidence? Do you see them delivering on all these issues that SEC is mandated to deliver on? Mr. Mutavire, I'll start with you, then I'll come to Honorable Kwizera.
Yeah, thank you very much. My understanding of SEC, it's supposed to give a policy direction of the country. And what are we in Uganda actually trying to focus on? It is to improve the livelihoods of our people. The SEC there, for me, my real gist would be, how do we make sure that these households have money and we are able to push the whole populace into a higher middle income status? We are just entering it. Other countries we started with some time back, like Singapore and so on, they have already gone ahead of us. So to me, the value of SEC right now would be to position itself in such a way that they can guide this country and create fora that generate policy to improve the livelihoods of the people. That would be the value addition for me.
Beyond improving livelihoods of the people, I mean, NRM has a whole set of values and ideals that so beyond economic livelihoods and wealth creation and so on, do you think they can actually deliver on the other ideals of the party?
The ideals of like democracy, they should be able to deliver on it. First of all, tighten the structures that should be where people participate in the democratic process. You should have a very clean electoral process. Take, for example, what has happened. What is difficult about delivering a clean election, even if it is by lining up? Use a register, clean the voters, and then they line during broad daylight.
Yeah, but Mr. Mata, how can they deliver on something as sensitive as democracy when we know some of the members of SEC right now have been accused variously of all these irregularities, voter bribery, intimidation, etc., etc. So how can someone who has actually been accused of that, of involvement in something like that, deliver on something like democracy?
You see, there are two things. There is the incumbent in an office, and there is that structure, what it is supposed to do. You may get a wrong incumbent in an office, but that doesn't mean that you have done away with what the functions of that structure should be. If the incumbents in the office are wrong ones, then there should be a mechanism within the party through that structure that delivers. You give an example. If you have a chairman of a district, he has come in as chairman of the district transaction. The system there should hold him so that he does not actually exercise his transactional nature in the system. For instance, tendering, going in tendering, doing all sorts of wrong things. So we should delineate those two things, the incumbents who have come in and the structure and what it is supposed to deliver. I think the structures could be okay, but then the overall in aggregate nature, there should be a checks and balance system. If you come in, you are wrong, then the system should have a mechanism of evicting you out of that process because you will not deliver.
Honorable Kwizera, do you have confidence in your current breed of SEC members?
You see, you know me, I'm now 65 years old, so I'm an authority. So some Ugandans are lucky to hear to some of us who are participants and who have been victims. And who are players, because not everybody knows what I know. Now, the relationship between the president of Uganda and the chairman of the party is very clear. The president holds some offices. As the chairman of the party, now he's a member of SEC. But at times, members of SEC, you can see the position has attracted very many people because of the imaginary benefits. Members of SEC don't get salary, no only salary within the party, it's voluntary. But because of Uganda tradition and culture of corruption, they think by being there, being near the president, they will influence the president to do what they want. And as a result, because the president now believes under pressure from SEC and other people, the president can avoid to meet them because he's the one who conducts the meeting. I am authoritatively informed that some of these people, when they meet the president, they don't discuss national issues or party issues. They go for personal issues. And as a result, the president is stressed more than before. So you can see that there are many reasons, disclosed and undisclosed, why many people want to become a member of the voluntary party. Why the others want to say, we want to be there to advance our national issues or to change policy. That's a very big problem. So now we say, the chairman, the SEC is supposed to help the president to define or to redefine some issues that is in the public, be condensed into policy contribution. Because as a party, they are supposed to contribute to national policies or shape the policies. But where it becomes a problem is the fusion and non-separation of powers, where you find the member of SEC is at the same time a minister, and at the same time is a member of parliament. Now, if the SEC is supposed to help the president to help in determining who becomes a good minister or a prime minister, then why are you there? There is element of selfishness. So meaning that these ones, when the president senses that you are coming there to advance your personal interest, you want to become minister because you are a member of SEC, the president avoids you in appointing cabinet. He doesn't consider you because you have a personal interest to serve using SEC. So is the SEC useful? The structure is okay, but the members may not be as useful because of advancing selfish interests. So as the chairman of even as the president, he has two offices now, executive office and a private office. You have advisors in a private office, which is at State House. And you have also executive office. And you have ministers who advise you. So you can see the president can be advised through executive structure by ministers. The president can be advised through a private office. But the biggest problem we are having now, which is by consensus, that the NRM constitution will be amended because needed to amend was evidenced in Kororo. And the president said, hey, how do we prevent this one to happen again? For a law to be amended, there must be a gap in its functionality. Meaning that when they saw how elections were being conducted, the mandate of the SEC, the qualification and disqualifications, so it means they are going to amend the constitution of NRM. But that will not be enough. They will also amend the national electoral laws, and provide for criminalization of usage of money in elections. Because there must be a relationship between the party and the national laws. You cannot now say you are breaching the party law and you are tried in court. No, you are applied into a party system. But for you to have a good functioning party, you must have also national laws. The Acts of Parliament must be there. The government of Uganda must establish that usage of money is crime, and people must be criminalized. Meaning that all the parties also will follow suit because this is a national law which will shape the laws. Then it will also go to the amendment of the Political Parties and Organizations Act. Each party must have a structure that is clear for it to qualify to get money from Electoral Commission, from government. Because now, you can see we are facing a bit of a crisis in politics, where you find that by yesterday more than 200 citizens, maybe even some non-citizens, have picked forms to contest, to participate. They have expressed interest. As presidents, 200, unheard of. And because people have stolen money, they can say, let us finance some citizens to be there just for the sake, without ground checking them. So it means the capacity of Ugandans, capacity of Electoral Commission, capacity of the parties to check people who are vying for leadership is going to make it as if it is a drama. And now you may find that out of 200 members who have picked performance for president, you may find about 50 members contesting. And the management of those candidates will be a problem.
Yeah, but do you also think we need to also address the issue of who applies or expresses interest to stand for the presidency? Because it looks like also that office alone has also been watered down, that perhaps is actually attracting all these high numbers.
You see, where Electoral Commission has erred, for qualification to pick forms, you must be someone of good conduct. You don't simply come and pick. You are abusing the process. You are wasting our resources. So Electoral Commission should have provided for a law to say that for you to qualify even to pick the forms, you must present certificate of good conduct, you must present URI clearance, you must produce a bank statement to clear that you are going to pick forms. But you cannot allow people to pick forms every day. You are wasting people's resources. You are wasting people's time. Electoral Commission has put people stationed there. They are being paid. So lack of seriousness by the Electoral Commission and the Minister responsible for Minister of Justice is causing government of Uganda to lose. Now, when someone is outside the country and he says, in Uganda they have picked 215 members have picked forms, that thing is bad for the country. It shows, is it democracy? Or why is it that all Ugandans are going for political offices? Why? Is it service? You must interest people to go in agriculture than going to politics. Because is there an investment in agriculture? You provide all the former members of parliament, all former vice presidents, all former prime ministers. Are they, many of them are needy. So if they are needy and they are coming to the president and say, I want to be a political advisor, I want to be this one, I want to be this one, was it a good investment? So the question of having leaders who cannot sustain themselves beyond the appointments should be an issue of research by these people. Why? Why should the former vice president on payroll, former prime minister on payroll, former prime minister, member of parliament payroll? Are they better off than how before they went to politics? No. And if they are not better, then why are you going there? Nobody has done that. That's what the party should be doing. Can we get the leaders? Can you get a secretariat that is functional, that has the most senior and the most qualified and most respected in that place? Yes. That's the problem.
I want to say something.
Yes.
Because the Electoral Commission is not here. Because Honorable Kwizera was saying that it's lack of seriousness on the part of the Electoral Commission to allow 200 candidates to...
Electoral reforms have they brought them?
I think that would be unfair to the Electoral Commission. You see, in this country, people have rights, such as political rights. Part of political rights is everyone, as long as you can testify to the fact that you are Ugandan, you have the right to contest. So the Electoral Commission has done nothing wrong.
Is that the only question?
But also let me say another thing I want to debunk is when he says that we should criminalize the use of money in elections.
Yes.
No, you see, you cannot criminalize the use of money in elections because elections need money. Because so I think
the core issue
what
okay.
we should criminalize is electoral bribery. And you remember we just said that Kololo was a sin of crime. So we need to criminalize electoral bribery in all manner, in all form, in all shapes. So that, and I think what is lacking today, we should also consider setting up a special division of the High Court to handle cases of electoral bribery. Because you remember, there was a time we felt, Honorable Mr. Mutagwire here will tell you, we've been working on corruption for the longest of time. But you see, there was a time you could not get a conviction against corruption in the normal courts. It was until the special anti-corruption division of the High Court was set up that you are beginning to see convictions. You cannot now prosecute a case of voter bribery, electoral bribery successfully.
Because there's no law.
There is the provisions are there.
No, the provisions which they brought, because of selfishness, they said you can buy water, you can buy gonja, you can buy pay transport. But if you are paying 10 million, 5 billion, is it for water?
I need to move.
Things we need to discuss.
Yes.
As a country.
So, Henry, I also need your thoughts on the SEC composition.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so that I move to
we
George.
We just said that Kololo was a sin of crime. There is no way a sin of crime will midwife leaders that are thoughtful, that are transformative. SEC, as it is now, you look, first of all, as we have been informed by George here, SEC is supposed to, among its functions, is governance. Look at each of those individuals now on the SEC. What are their credentials in terms of governing? Where have they ever governed? Because you see, you don't just pop onto the stage, popcorn style, and become a governor. So you look at the credentials they have, their competences. I'm not sure many Ugandans are inspired, especially those that are grounded on matters of political governance. There was a point Honorable Kwizera raises of Museveni, the president, and Museveni, the member of SEC, who also chairs SEC. When I was studying political public administration and management, one of the things my professor told me was that when it comes to management, if you get to manage a public institution, you must be able to separate workplace from home. Just because I'm the manager of KFM doesn't mean my children should come here and mess up things.
But I'm the same person who is in my home managing here. President Museveni is the president of Uganda. When it comes to the party, he's chairing that SEC. He should be able to submit himself to being held accountable to SEC. The question is, those men who have been midwifed through, men and women midwifed through that criminal process, can they do this? Number two, I always refer to China, but you forgive me because I have taken time and studied it. That man Xi Jinping is very powerful internationally. But you see, when he gets the court of president of China off and he goes to the CPC and where he's a member, that organ holds him accountable. They critique him. Here you are going wrong, change there. Here you are doing well. And he listens. So, you see, we need to go back to the basics of accountability. And fortunately, this composition, as I'm seeing it now, I don't think they have the spine to. I was going to use a vulgar word, but I don't think they have the spine to hold the president accountable. And short of that, we are going to continue with the same business as usual, as we have seen.
Thank you, George. Over to you.
In public policy discourse, there's what we call kicking the can down the road. Basically, to say you don't want to confront the elephant in the room. So you close your eyes because you don't want to see the bad things. Even the good ones will pass and you have not seen them. Now, transactional elections have unintended consequences. Transactional elections have unintended consequences. You can be able to procure votes. The most difficult thing to procure is legitimacy. So when you have a legitimacy deficit, then you basically have a credibility crisis around your leadership. So as a political party, we need to start having that conversation. How do we reclaim that legitimacy? How do we reclaim that credibility? And that is going to be the crisis that the party is going to be facing, and we must be able to speak about it and mobilize our forces around that. Now, the new Central Executive Committee has, when you look at them, fairly younger people are in the Central Executive Committee. I would wish that the president taps into some institutional memory, of leaders using his constitutional. There is the NRM Constitution gives the president the liberty to appoint about 10 members as eminent persons. In that appointment, I would wish that the president taps into the black box of the party, people who have institutional memory that the younger generation can tap into, so that we can have blended value.
How many are nominees?
I think there are like 10 nominees.
And how many are members now?
10 nominees.
Elected members, how many are they?
Elected members of SEC?
Yes.
They could be like...
about 10 or so?
Yeah, more than 10.
More than
you mean they are providing for ex-official or...?
It is there.
I'm saying they have the same power.
The ex-officials are there. It's not about the elective power. It's also about shaping the conversation.
Having regions of Uganda being electing people. Of course, you agree with me that for you to elect someone, he must be accountable to you. So it is a question of even someone from Karamoja campaigning in Kisoro should be amended, because beyond jurisdiction. You are saying you represent Karamoja, yet you want to campaign in Kisoro. What relationship? Those are some of the things that will be amended. Secondly, the membership who are elected with responsibility and accountability cannot be equal to those ones who are nominated.
George, carry on.
I am really being very disciplined in the way I'm addressing my issue on this matter of SEC. I am addressing...
Because of what you know and you cannot say, which is okay.
I am addressing myself to how the constitution of NRM is framed. It provides, wiggle room to the chairperson. And I remember that the president even talked about it when he was trying to resolve the issue of elections of the second vice president. And he said, I have, the constitution gives me the powers to nominate one person, and I'm giving that to either of you. So what I'm saying is that considering the outcome of these elections, there is still room for nominees, so that we have blended value brought into the leadership of SEC and giving it that national outlook and give it character. The other thing that I really am interested in is actually the character of the political organization. It's very, very important. If we fundamentally change the complexion of this political party and change the DNA, we are most likely going to suffer a genetically modified party. And that means that we have lost, the core character that inspired the people like Kwizera to join the national resistance movement. Yes, we need this demographic impulse. We need to respond to it. We need to respond to the technological impulse. We need also to respond to the changing structure of our economy. We have a growing, so-called growing middle class, and so on and so forth. So some of these things have impact on how the party operates. But that should not in any way compromise the character of the party, because the character of the party has its DNA. It has values, it has systems, that should remain consistent in spite of the different players. And this is what the Central Executive Committee is supposed to be, the custodian of this core elements of our political organization, because they're providing leadership. So, does the current SEC in its composition have capacity to do that? The answer is yes. Okay? But also, given the consequences of this election, I think there should be remedial action. And that's why I was saying that the president now, having looked at the composition of these elected members of SEC, should now tap into the other elements to balance the boat, and resolve some of the issues that have, we have consistently seen during this election. And then we create a reset. We need to have a reset. We need a reboot of our thought process around how we want to build the political party, the NRM. That has to take leadership. That really has got to take some bit of courage within the party. And the party has got to be prepared to take some darts in order for it to do it.
Okay.
I will be leaving Alice, so I have to rebuttal what he's saying. Because when I hear him saying that they wouldn't want to be in a situation where they are managing a genetically modified party, I get the vibes as if there is this fear of changing it. Now let me advise. You see, parties cannot be run as dogmas. Dogma meaning as it were in the beginning, it is now, and forever it shall be. That if you run a political party as a dogma, then you are setting it up for failure. Political parties should be able to change according to the changes in times. This is what white political parties that started as revolutionary movements, such as the Communist Party of China, have managed to survive and hang in there and compete with capitalism. They have also taken on capitalist tendencies and kind of morphed, adjusted somewhere. This party...
But I talked about, let me just put that in context. I did not say, I said we need to respond to the demographic impulse. We need to respond to the technological impulse. We need to respond to the changing context.
Move with the times.
Okay? And the character, the DNA of the political organization, where it is coming from, what inspires it, okay, has remained consistent. 1, respect for human rights. 2, we need a vibrant economy. Those were the building blocks of this political organization. And they remain consistent as it were yesterday, today, and it will be consistent tomorrow. But the moment we change it and we disrupt it and we make this party an exclusive class party, we are losing the fast track capability of this political organization, which is the people.
Henry. You're done. Yes. So, George, I thank you for your submission. Transactional elections and the credibility crisis that it creates for the party and for the people, of course. But I also want to hear your thoughts about, the emergence of these new power brokers that Honorable Kwizera here talks about. Many of whom do not have little or no ideological or even revolutionary history that links them to the party, except the fact that they are driven by these capitalist interests, amassing wealth and so on. Some have probably found themselves to the SEC, the new SEC.
Accumulation of wealth.
Yes. Others have found themselves within the party. So how do you actually build a credible party? How do you overcome this credibility crisis when the party is actually, in your quest for numbers, you're actually attracting all these kinds of people who come with all this chaff? How do you build that credibility? They are not interested, it seems, about the party's revolutionary history or its ideology or anything. It is the money, and as long as they are closer to power, they know they can get whatever they want.
You see, that's why I said there is a limit to how much you can transact in politics. And as long as we do not as long as we don't create an environment where procurement of political positions has greater risks, then we must bid farewell to anything called the National Resistance Movement. So we need to recollect. That's why I was saying that we need institutional memory and say what inspired this political organization in the first place. Okay? Mm-hmm. If we have dispensed of those attributes of this political organization, then let's just say we have created a new political party. But as long as we still call it the National Resistance Movement, and we still recall, and we are riding on the bloodshed of those whom we have buried in Luero. Okay? Then we must be ashamed of what is happening right now. So simply, I'm saying that we need that think tank that is going to sit in this room and put a mirror and say, we are ashamed of what we are seeing today. And we must now begin, to step back, pedal back and say, this is what we want to do. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. And call out those that have gone beyond their call of duty as disciplined political.
I want to clarify.
Just a minute. Let him finish. Henry wants to leave.
I want some small clarification.
And I can tell you, there is no shortage of good men in the National Resistance Movement. There is no shortage of good people.
Thank you.
The only shortage we have are people who can speak out.
Thank you. We need to let Henry go. Henry, thank you very much for your time. I know you have something rather urgent to attend to, but we do appreciate you for your input. Thank you. I can set you free now. Yes, so now I remain with the three musketeers from the NRM. Thank you. So, yes, Honorable Kwizera, I'm told we need to take a break. Stephen, we take a break now? Okay, let's take a break and then we return and I'll give you the mic. It's 10:46 a.m. A warm welcome back to VPN. Honorable Kwizera, I think let's give you the mic. You wanted to clarify on something that George had said earlier.
There are some things as individuals that make us shy, and there are others that make us proud. So in organizational management, or even personal management, or in human behavior, you deal more with the things that make you shy than those ones which make you proud. Because already those ones which make you proud, you have already accomplished them and you are proud. But those which make you shy may even be very few. But if you don't deal with them, they will tarnish your name. Mm-hmm. So as a country, as my colleague George has said, do we need a debate within the party? Yes, we need a debate to handle the issues that affected Mutabire. Now he's the victim. So that now those things are crossed out. Okay, do we need a debate in the country? Do we have issues? So what we are talking about is the leaders who are coming. Are they tested? Have they proved some competence somewhere? Can they deliver? Are they vetted? So when we don't have a vetting mechanism within the internal systems of the parties, and those internal mechanisms for vetting, people must be tested leaders. If you have a permanent secretary who has retired and he has offered no salary, you should actually encourage him. So do we encourage leaders who are tested, who are well trained, in vetting, but having emotional leaders. People say there is a position and everybody wants to follow there. Is going to cost us so much. Definitely also setting a standard and qualification. We receive out bad and good. They will separate them. You cannot be a voter and you think that you must also be there. Because not everybody will be there. At one time, some people will be there. So I would think that and secondly, all organizations need good organizations. All organizations need organs of agencies. Secondly, that we would need a good party. Every country needs good parties as alternatives. Because if you have a bus, you are going to Chisoro, and the bus is faulty, you go on another bus. So ordinarily, even NRM would need other functioning good political parties for alternatives. So, but when we say that we can dominate and we create a situation where no other parties can be formed, that one becomes very dangerous for the country, because instead of going into organized parties, they can go and join anarchy.
Okay. Yeah. I'm told we need to open the phone lines 0392 933 933, 0393 262 933. 0393 262 934, 0751 933 900. Do give us a call. Be part of our discussion. We are looking back at the NRM delegates conference and discussing the concerns that emerged from there and their political bearings. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, KFM.
Good morning. May I know who I'm talking to?
This is Ronald, the man from Tororo.
Yes, Ronald from Tororo. Kindly proceed.
What I can say, NRM is a mass party in this country, where corruption, confusion, and intimidation have spoiled. President Museveni, who is the party chairperson, is busy enjoying the songs which are killing his own party. What I have seen as a common man, NRM is already divided. Therefore, President Museveni must do something to unite privileged and unprivileged officials of NRM before the collapse of NRM.
Thank you, Ronald. Hello. Okay, Ronald says NRM is a mass party with corruption, where corruption, intimidation, etc. I think the order of the day, and the president is enjoying the song that is killing his own party. He needs to pay attention and listen to the grievances and have them resolved. I think that's what I pick from him. Just very quickly, Mutabwire.
Yeah, I think the question here we're addressing is the question of credibility. To enforce credibility, there must be rules and regulations. Now, for you to get an outcome of credibility from those rules, it's a question of enforcement. Are we able to enforce? There are questions of sanctions and rewards within the system. I will give you an example. I went to Mauritius and processing a business license. There are deeming clauses. They say within 3 days, you should be able to have issued a license. And if you don't do so, the license is deemed to have been issued, and you, the officer who is responsible, is sanctioned. So if we don't apply sanctions, and sanctions which have deeming clauses, that if you did this and it is out of the way, we don't wait to go to the court. You are deemed to have been punished or something. We shall not be able to deal with the aftermath, especially the aftermath of what we have had as an election.
Yeah, thank you. Honorable Kwizera, you want to come in again? But there's one thing that I also found interesting that you had said earlier, Mr. Mutabwire. When I asked about your confidence in the current composition of SEC, and you said, yes, you think they can deliver, especially when it comes to socio-economic transformation and wealth creation. But on the other hand, Honorable Kwizera here was giving us examples of politicians, former who've held very big positions running to, seek for appointments from the president because, in his words, they are needy. So if for 40 years the NRM has actually delivered on wealth creation and so on that it prides itself in, why must it have its own senior members who've served the party and the country diligently running and begging for handouts from the presidency? Doesn't this tell us something that actually this socio-economic transformation thing is not working?
No, it's a question of where do you stand. I will take it because I've been a lot in the governance of local government, and one of the things we did worked on was the policy of decentralization, which was to empower the population. But what was the gist of that policy? It was basically about service delivery and all other things. Then we changed in 2005 and said, no, these structures must look at local economic development, whereby we're looking at households, how they can generate money, and even improve the base of taxation. So the question of the neediness depends on the capacity building of the individual. You may, I was in a local government as a senior officer, but I'm a consultant across the Commonwealth and in Africa. I do not need really to go and beg. They can call me and I offer the service.
But from the look of it seems you have a lot of people whose capacity haven't been built in the party, within your own party.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There are individual cases. Not, for instance, the other day they were showing someone who was earning 3 million. Does it stop for someone from within the party doing so? So there are individual household or individual malaise within those who are in the structures. The work ethic is very key. If you are going to believe that you will be always depending on office is not enough. When I was an officer, for instance, I used to tell people that do something that can help you beef up your income. So if you don't do it, at the end of the day, when you lose these goodies around the office, you will become needy.
Honorable, socio-economic transformation vis-a-vis the neediness that we see exhibited within the party. What does it tell us?
Of course, like me, I have my personal views, not the party.
Yeah, share your personal views.
My view is based on my research. Is that the President Museveni tries to make sure that there is money economy, but the people who receive the money, they don't actually do what he thinks they should do. And this is where I would actually now, through George, I want to tell the President that the historicals is a cluster, is a group of people who committed themselves and went to the bush without pay. Suppose we enabled them and they become an investment vehicle. Like in Zimbabwe, you find historicals are encouraged to form circles and investment clubs. That would be a very good one. Secondly, even the veterans can form investment circles. Second, even these former member politicians, they would be owning banks, industries, and they would be there instead of being a pressure to the president every time. So me, that's what I was saying, that now we should also have realistic practices.
We have about 2-3 minutes.
Some of these practices are not realistic. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage everybody to have that. Let us join investment clubs. Instead of Chinese coming to invest in factories here, let the government of Uganda make a deliberate effort to make sure that the veterans, the historicals, are joining those investment clubs and they go in the industries for production. Because if we don't have people in the production sector, but they are in the consumptive sector, they are now consuming only. So let us have many people involved in production than those politicians who are in the consumptive sector.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think we actually have to just wind up. George, so I'll just ask for your final remarks as we wind up the show.
When it comes to the element of socioeconomic transformation, I think the problem has been that there has been a total collapse of our public service. And we have weaponized the public service and made it a political, over-politicized it. So essentially there's been a total elite capture. So resources are remaining at the top and it's not trickling down. That's why the president is insisting that we need to trickle down these resources so that we can, we can boost the local economy, we can empower the local people. But you see, the pipelines are getting clogged. So the service delivery pipelines are getting clogged at the very end, and it's just leakages, and those leakages are dropping these resources only to people who have, positions. So what you'd see as the emergence of the middle class is actually public resources. And until we become that disciplined,
channeled through patronage networks,
and ensure that there is what we call the public good. So we build infrastructure, we invest in social services, we enable the private sector to thrive on their own. People who are investing in tourism, people who are investing in agriculture, people who are doing value, so that they feel that there is something that is going. But as long as we have this system clogged up, it won't deliver.
Thank you very much. And I think that brings us to the end of today's edition of VPN. We've been discussing the concerns from the NRM Delegates Conference and their political bearings. Thank you very much to my guests, Honorable Eddie Kwizera, Mr. Patrick Mutabwire, Honorable George Stephen Odong, and Mr. Henry Muguzi, who left us a few minutes ago. My name is Judith Atim. Thank you very much to all of you for listening in. VPN returns next Saturday, same time. Do join us then for